Colombiana. Fabio watches his daughter, Cataleya, drawing at their kitchen table in Bogotá. Her innocent concentration a stark contrast to the storm about to destroy their lives. He's just handed over everything to Don Luis, his cartel boss, thinking retirement would be simple after years of keeping the books. But the moment he walks out of that meeting, he knows he's made a fatal mistake. Don Luis doesn't let people retire, he buries them. The old man barely waited for Fabio to leave before ordering Marco to tie up this loose end permanently. Racing home through the narrow streets, Fabio arrives home and tells his wife Alicia they have 10 minutes to disappear. He crouches down to Cataleya's level and presses a micro SD card into her small palm, making her memorize an address in Chicago, where his brother Emilio lives. The necklace he fastens around her neck belonged to her grandmother, but right now it's just another promise he won't live to keep. When the convoy rolls up outside, Fabio knows they're out of time. His men outside try buying them precious seconds, claiming he's not home, but everyone knows that's a lie. Marco leads the hit squad with military precision, the same Marco who used to eat dinner at their table and bring Cataleya birthday presents. Fabio sends Cataleya to her room and hands his wife a gun, but they both know how this ends. The shooters burst through like a hurricane, cutting down Alicia as she runs for the stairs. Fabio bleeds out, reaching for her while their daughter watches from the doorway, frozen in that moment between childhood and whatever comes after. Marco finds her there, tries talking softly like he's still Uncle Marco, asking for the card her father gave her. Instead of answering, she drives a knife through his hand and promises to kill Don Luis before diving through the window. The 9-year-old girl moves across Bogotá's rooftops like she was born there, leaping between buildings while bullets crack past her head. She's already swallowed the SD card when one of Don Luis's men catches up on a motorcycle, chasing her through a crowded market until he crashes into a fruit stand. She slides into a storm drain barely wide enough for her shoulders, emerging blocks away covered in sewage but alive. At the American embassy, she vomits up the card and trades it for a plane ticket, her father's insurance policy buying her freedom with information that could destroy Don Luis's entire operation. During a Miami layover, she ditches her CIA escort in an airport bathroom and catches a Greyhound to Chicago with the last of her money. Emilio opens his door to find his brother's daughter standing there alone, and neither of them can hold back tears. He promises she's safe now, but she doesn't want safety. Over dinner with her grandmother, she tells him flat out she wants to be a killer. Instead of arguing, he enrolls her in school the next morning. When she protests that education won't help her get revenge, he pulls his pistol and shoots out a passing car's windshield, causing a spectacular crash. The message is clear. Pulling a trigger is easy, but staying alive afterward requires brains. 15 years pass, and Cataleya has become exactly what she promised. She stumbles out of a car that's just demolished a police cruiser, playing drunk so perfectly the cops barely glance at her fake ID before tossing her in the drunk tank. Her slurred speech and stumbling walk are pure theater, every move calculated to seem harmless. Hours later, U.S. Marshals deliver Genaro, a cartel witness scheduled to testify, to the same jail. Once the building quiets, she uses a plastic spoon to drip water into an electrical panel, shorting out the ventilation system long enough to crawl through the ducts. She drops into the hall wearing a guard's uniform she'd hidden weeks earlier, approaches Genaro's cell, and puts 3 bullets in him using the sleeping guard's own weapon. Then, she's back in her cell before anyone realizes what happened. Just another drunk sleeping it off. FBI Special Agent Ross examines Genaro's corpse the next morning and finds Cataleya's signature, an orchid drawn on the chest in lipstick she's heated to leave permanent marks. It's the 23rd body, marked this way in 4 years, each one connected to Don Luis's organization, each one a message written in blood. Ross orders the symbol published in every major newspaper, hoping whoever it's meant for finally gets the message. When Cataleya walks out of jail that afternoon, she peels off the fake fingerprint skin and calls Emilio to confirm the job's done. In New Orleans, Don Luis lives under CIA protection in a compound that costs taxpayers millions, trading information for safety. His handler, Richard, shows him the newspaper coverage of the killings, warning him to handle this problem before it exposes their arrangement. Don Luis blames Marco for letting Fabio's daughter escape all those years ago, ordering him to finish what he started. He's gotten fat and comfortable in witness protection, but paranoid enough to double his security anyway. Cataleya maintains her cover life carefully. She sleeps with Danny, an artist who thinks she's Jennifer, a woman who travels for work and never stays for breakfast. When he tries getting closer, asking real questions about her life, she feeds him crumbs. She gets lonely sometimes. She doesn't eat breakfast. It's enough to keep him interested, but not enough to be dangerous. At least until he takes her picture while she's sleeping, thinking it's romantic instead of recognizing it as the betrayal it becomes. Her next target throws himself a party in a mansion protected by sharks and security, bragging to his guests about how the sharks are his best friends, how they'd tear apart anyone who crossed him. She hides under their van as it enters, then swims through the shark tank's feeding tunnel to emerge inside the house. After marking him with her signature and leaving his guards dead, she lets him find the orchid she's left by the tank. When he tries shooting her with the empty guns she's sabotaged, she drops him with precise shots to the legs and chest, letting him bleed into the water while the sharks finish what she started. His last view is her walking away as his best friends circle closer. Emilio meets her at a library and throws down a newspaper showing 8 dead Colombian immigrants, all killed by Don Luis's men searching for her. He's done feeding her contracts if she won't stop the signatures that are getting innocent people killed. She demands to know how many bodies it took before he found peace over his son's death, and the question breaks him. He tells her revenge brought him nothing but emptiness, then cuts her off completely, leaving her with an old photo from happier times when they were still a whole family. Danny shows his friend the photo he took of his mysterious girlfriend, not knowing that the friend immediately sends it to his cop sister to run through facial recognition. The match pings Ross's system instantly. FBI surrounds her apartment building while she's on the phone with Danny, and the moment he mentions the photo, she knows she's blown. She rigs her apartment wall with explosives, timing the blast perfectly with the FBI breach. Then slides down the elevator shaft and escapes through the subway tunnels while they're still searching the parking garage. At Emilio's house, she finds a massacre. Her grandmother dead in her bed, Emilio shot in his chair, everyone who mattered to her gone. Marco left them as a message, and she understands perfectly. Don Luis won't stop until she's erased completely. She holds Emilio's cold hand and promises to finish this tonight. Ross comes home to find her waiting with a gun and a pressure-sensitive bomb under his chair. She explains everything: how Don Luis murdered her parents, how every killing was meant to draw him out, how the FBI and CIA ignored her messages for 4 years. Either Ross gets Don Luis's location from his CIA contact, or she starts killing Ross's family one by one. When Richard refuses to give up the location, claiming his office has bulletproof glass, she puts a round through it anyway, missing his head by inches. He gives up the address immediately. Cataleya arrives at Don Luis's compound with enough firepower to start a war. She opens with an RPG through the main window, scattering his men before they can organize. Some try escaping in a car, but she rams them with an armored truck and guns down everyone inside. She shoots through the floor when she hears movement below, sets fires to flush them out, and picks them off one by one as they scramble for position. Marco finally confronts her in a bathroom, and they fight with everything available: guns, towels, toothbrushes. He's stronger, but she's faster, and when he finally gets his hand on a pistol, she's already stripped it down to parts. She drives the slide through his neck and watches him bleed out on the tile, her parents' killer finally dead. Don Luis escapes in a van but gets trapped at a dead end. When she calls him using Marco's phone, he threatens to hunt her down, says she'll never see him coming. She informs him he's already dead. Her dogs are in the van with him. She gives them one command and they tear him apart while she listens to his screams. Danny sits in FBI custody, knowing nothing useful about the woman he loves. When she calls him one last time, he gets 40 seconds to ask 3 questions. Her real name is Cataleya. Maybe she'll come back someday if he leaves his window open. He tells her he loves her before Ross grabs the phone, but she's already gone. Somewhere far from Chicago, Cataleya starts over again. Don Luis is dead, her parents are avenged, but she's still the 9-year-old girl who watched everything she loved get destroyed. Some journeys don't have happy endings, just endings, and sometimes that has to be enough. Thanks for watching till the end. Your support keeps us going and helps us bring more awesome stories to life. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and stay tuned for the next movie on Addict Recap.